This week we're talking about bugging in versus bugging out.
Loaded for bear, loaded for bear. He ain't got a reason, he ain't got a care, 'cause he's loaded for bear, loaded for bear.
How's it going? I don't know if I'm gonna keep the character voice up because this isn't really a sketch this week. I just kind of want to talk about bugging in versus bugging out. But before we do that, check this out. Found that third 9mm from the homemade body armor. It was caught in the tile. I don't know if you want to check out the homemade body armor video, but I thought it was cool. And in the video, I didn't find the third 9mm, so it was cool I was messing around and I found it. This week, we're going to talk about bugging in versus bugging out, why you would do either, the pros and cons, and finally my conclusion on what I want to do. All right, let's talk about bugging in. Personally, I kind of like the idea of bugging in. Why you would do it, if you're in a situation where it's dangerous to travel or leaving your home's not really an option, then you're going to look towards bugging in. And if you don't know what bugging in is, that means you pretty much hunker down where you're at. And for most of us, that's going to be our homes. Scenarios where bugging in might be an option. Bad weather scenarios. I live in Michigan, so like blizzards, stuff like that, where leaving in a car or on foot just isn't really an option. You're gonna look towards bugging in. You know, weather, you might want to bug in. Zombie apocalypse, personally, I would bug in. Basically, I'd look to bug in anytime that leaving the house puts you in more immediate danger than staying put. So think about it like that. Anytime staying home is the safest option is when I'm gonna look to bug in. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the pros of bugging in. First, your actual house is a fortress, it's a structure, it's hopefully not condemned, but it'll offer you protection from the outside world. That's why most of us live in homes anyways. But your house is gonna give you immediate protection. You know, you're not gonna die of exposure, barring a huge blizzard and you don't know how to heat your home. Your home's gonna offer you a ton of protection just from the outside world. Animals, weather, all kinds of stuff like that. So having a structure, already a plus. Next, you can stock up your house. And what do I mean by that? If you're kind of getting into prepping like I am, you can start, adding food, water stores like that to your home immediately. Medical supplies, you have multiple different rooms where you can store things. You're gonna also have other people live with you. Let's talk about main resources like water, air, food. Again, if the air outside's pretty bad, your house is going to give you a little bit of protection from that. Water, you have tubs, sinks, hopefully containers. Before the water grid actually goes down, you can fill all those things up with water and you should be set for having, hopefully hundreds of gallons of water. If water or power goes down immediately, the first thing you're going to want to do in your house is start filling containers up with water that is already in your pipes or in the system already. The next thing is, you can turn your house into kind of a fortress. Look at the Home Alone movies. Kevin McAllister, a child, did a great job. When you're living in your house, you know your home better than anybody else. Hopefully, maybe somebody with blueprints, that doesn't matter. But if you need to turn your house into a fortress, most of us, if you're like me, play that out in your head all the time. So knowing where and how you would board up your windows, certain choke points, stuff like that, what rooms you would turn into kind of, the Alamo rooms or panic rooms. Boarding your home up from the inside to give you concealment and cover. Not a lot of cover, but a little bit of cover. It also keeps your home looking not as conspicuous. Because if you're going through a neighborhood and you see, a boarded up house, you're gonna be like, well, that's weird. But if it's boarded up from the inside and it looks dark, you might not look twice. Also, if you board up your house from the inside, if somebody does break the window or glass or stuff like that, the glass is going to be kept from getting into your actual home. Third pro of bugging in and staying at your house is your local town. You know where you live, you know where the resources are. Hopefully you know your neighbors, you know the lay of the land. At least for me, I live in kind of suburban America or urban America. You're going to know your neighbors. If you're living in an apartment complex in one of the super cities of this country, I don't know. I don't know about bugging in an apartment. That's kind of outside my wheel. If you know your hometown, you know your neighbors, and you're polite with them, you're already kind of in a better situation. I think one of the best things for surviving is having other people you can trust. Knowing people around you is going to help with security measures through the roof, as well as any other need you might come across. So knowing your town, knowing your location, I think is another huge pro for bugging in and staying put. Number 4 pro for bugging in, it's a rally point. If you have friends, family, or people that know this is what you're into, if you got loved ones that need to come to you, it might be too much, but at the same time, they have a place that they know, hey, this is our rally point. And from there, again, if it's loved ones and trusted ones and you really want to think about surviving and keeping people going, loved ones and trusted ones being able to come to you, I think is going to be an important measure. Is too many people knowing to come to you probably a bad thing? And I realize that as I make this video, I've probably got a bunch of friends that are like, oh. So maybe this is why I'm going to have to bug out. But regardless, if you're out there not making videos about bugging in, bug in. Last one, kind of a pro/con, but I'll get into the cons later. Hard target, and turning your home into a hard target, I think is a pretty good pro. Now, you're stationary, and I'll get into the cons there, but again, turning your house into a fortress is going to be something that allows you to have a certain level of security, and anybody that is looking for a quick score, if they see that you've made your home a hard target, they're probably going to move on. Summary for the pros: you automatically have a shelter, you can stock up your home with resources, you know your hometown, it's a rally point, and you can turn your house into a fortress. Those are kind of the 5 big ones that stuck out to me. If you're, super experienced prepper or somebody else out there that wants to, add something that I kind of forgot, go ahead and drop it in the comments. I'd love to have a discussion. I'd love to learn. So if you got something to add to me, go ahead and pop that in there right now. If you want to have fun, tell me what your bugging plans are. Let's talk about cons of bugging in. Biggest one, you're stationary. And if you're like me, people already know where you're at. That rally point can be a rally point for loved ones, but it can also be a rally point for people that want to, do you harm and take your resources. So keep in mind, a stationary target, even if it's a hard target, you don't have mobility on your side. People are going to know where you're at, and they have the initiative if they want to come take your stuff. They set up the attack. So you kind of always got to be on your feet there. Another big one is if your home or your fortress burns down, you're screwed. If you bug in and you lose it all and you don't have anywhere to go, you talk about being up creek without a paddle. Last big con for me is long-term bugging in might not be an option. If you, again, live in a city or an apartment or suburbia where, you're raiding for supplies, but you can't really set up long-term survival, you don't have access to, solar energy or something like that to keep your house going, growing crops, starting a farm, bugging in might not be the best scenario for long-term survival, but, weigh those options. I know some preppers out there are ready to live in their house forever. Good on them. Let's talk about bugging out. Who's bugging out, huh? Who wants to be part of my raider gang? Is it more ridiculous with the glasses on? We'll do it with the glasses. All right, let's talk about bugging out, being a raider ganging it up. Why would you bug out? Immediate reasons why you bug out is if you can't stay home. If you're in immediate danger and you got to get the hell out, fire's coming for you, zombies have overrun the neighborhood, and they're kicking in doors, you got to go. So why you got to bug out? Your immediate spot is no longer safe. You got to get the hell out of Dodge. That's why people bug out. If bugging in is not an option, you got to scoot. Leaving the old thinking cap on though. All right, pros of bugging out. First pro, you're no longer in the immediate danger zone. Danger zone! Go bag, go truck, stuff like that. If you're ready to roll, bug the hell out, get the hell out of Dodge. You're no longer in the shitstorm. You're mobile. So first pro, good to go. Second pro, I'm maybe jumping the gun on this one, pro/con, but because you're mobile, you do have the advantage of exactly that. You don't have to be stuck in one spot. You set the initiative for where you are. There is security in mobility, and I know I look ridiculous with this on. I'm committing to it. I'm leaving the nail. Third pro for bugging out, you have places to go. The world's your oyster. I mean, the parts that are on fire, but hopefully you have set up spots you're gonna go to if you have to bug out. Have multiple places in mind. So if plan A through B through C through Z aren't an option, well then you go 1A, 1B, 1C. If you want to talk about redundancies and morale boosts, as long as you always have a plan or somewhere to go or something to hope for, that can be a pretty big pro. Fourth pro for bugging out, and I know it can be argued that it is a pro/con, but you could potentially meet other good people who also had to bug out, other preppers who have that in mind, and as long as they extend the open hand of friend and not a weapon, I don't know, you'll have to do some sort of Walking Dead scenario where you get to know the other group, but you can potentially meet other people that are trying to survive, like-minded people that are also bugging out because they were in the same place you were, and you gotta go. Fifth, pro for bugging out, and I know I'm zipping through these because I honestly think there's way more pros for bugging in than there is bugging out, but it goes back to having that initiative. When you're on the go, you set the initiative, and if you have to hit one of those hard targets, you can scout it out, and you know you're the mobile ones. Let's talk about the cons of bugging out, right? I think the biggest one is lack of resources, lack of shelter. I mean, these are huge things. You're mobile, you're instantaneously losing access to all kinds of, you know, storages you might have, you know, stores of water, food, all that is kind of going to be finite when you're on the road. You're going to have to scavenge a lot more. You know, you're kind of at the will of Mother Nature at that point as well. If you don't have a shelter when you're bugging out, it's going to be a bad time. Exposure kills tons of people. So when you're bugging out, you know, bring a tent, bring a tarp. Something I heard from one of the bigger, massive prepper channels on YouTube is they compared bugging out to immediately turning yourself into a refugee. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it like that. You know, I always go like, oh, you're bugging out, you're a mobile commando. But no, man, you are a mobile refugee. You've got what's on your back, and no going back for what you didn't pack type of stuff. If you're bugging out and you're hoping that the government or good people are going to take care of you, I don't know, think twice about that, because you're beholden to the people you run across that are more established than you. So bugging out, I definitely think has more risks involved. So let's compare the two and we'll get into the conclusion. Okay, so we went over bugging in and we went over bugging out. Personally, I think if you can, bugging in is my go-to scenario, because I like my bed. I like being home. I'm a homebody anyways. So I think bugging in is the smarter, safer choice. Having said that, you know, be prepared to do both. And if you got to bug out with purpose and bug out with a plan. Again, weighing the cons, pros, cons. So in my personal opinion and what I want to do, I'm planning to bug in with, you know, backup plan of bugging out. You know, always keep your car fueled up, ready to roll. And if you guys want to see, I did a video last week of stuff I keep in my car for survival stuff, but I also have a go tote. So I have a go bag, but I also have a go tote for my car. So if I have to bug out using my car, I have a kind of small ready to go tote. Throw that in there. It's got supplies for hopefully about a week and a half on the road for me and 3 other people. All right, guys, that's bugging in versus bugging out. If you got comments, concerns, criticisms, ideas, let me hear that in the comment section. If you had fun with the video, like the video. If you want to see more of this nonsense, I'll be at comedy sketches, new prepping discussions, and all kinds of silly stuff. Occasionally philosophy, or whatever the heck else we're going to do on Loaded for Bear. Go ahead and hit subscribe, hit the bell if you're super cool, but videos about once a week, Mondays is when they're going to be coming out. Final thoughts in the comments section. Tell me what your plans are for bugging in and bugging out. And you don't have to tell me your exact address, but tell me where you are around the world. And yeah, we'll play with those scenarios about bugging in and bugging out. Other than that, everybody, keep your protein intake high and your weapons loaded, because you're surviving the apocalypse with loot. And you know what? I'm surviving it with you. Okay, bye. Okay, bye, everybody. Look at these. Still, I don't know. It's dumb.
He ain't got a reason, he ain't got a care, 'cause he's loaded for bear. Loaded for bear.